Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the frankly terrible Italian science fiction film Star Odyssey from 1979. And the film is set in the year 2312, beginning with a group of aliens auctioning off a number of insignificant nondescript planets. The winning bidder for the unimportant little rock that is Sol 3, in other words, the Earth, is the evil despot Cress. This villainous alien promptly flies to our planet with plans to capture and sell the entire population as slaves. Now, as you can imagine, said population are less than keen on Cress's plan, of course, but the alien came prepared for that. His powerful robot army quickly overwhelmed humanity's defenses amid a barrage of stock footage explosions. Lacking the means to resist Cress's forces directly, humanity's leaders turned to the brilliant but iconoclastic Professor Maury for aid. They rather implausibly claim that Maury is 2 centuries ahead of any other human being in technological knowledge. He's also, incidentally, a psychic with telepathic powers that may seem familiar if you happen to have seen a certain other science fiction franchise that came to big screens in the 1970s, with a quite similar name, in fact. In any case, Maury does agree to help. It's hard to imagine he wouldn't, given the whole he would get enslaved too if he didn't, and he sets out to reunite his old team to assist him. Many supposedly exciting adventures then ensue. Now, this movie was directed by Alfonso Brescia under the anglicised screen name Al Bradley. Brescia began his career in the 1960s with sword and sandal films, but he is best known today for certain very limited definitions of being known for the 4 science fiction films he made in the 1970s. This was the last of the 4, hitting cinemas barely 2 years after the first, which should give you an idea of the level of resources and care being invested into these productions. And make no mistake, Star Odyssey absolutely lives down to every negative expectation you might have of a low budget 1970s science fiction film. Not the least of which, of course, is the big shadow that hangs over pretty much all low budget 1970s science fiction films. By which, of course, I mean Star Wars. The success of George Lucas's films inevitably led to a slew of knockoffs of varying quality. Now, of course, when the best of the crop are the hysterically daft Star Crash and Roger Corman's Seven Samurai in Space pastiche, Battle Beyond the Stars, then quality is a somewhat subjective term to begin with. But when I tell you that this movie is one of the worst Star Wars knockoffs I've ever seen, that is no small claim. My word, this film is dire. But for now, let's just focus on the Star Wars part of worst Star Wars knockoff. Because Jiminy, this is very much a film that cites its sources. Star Odyssey has a seemingly unstoppable bad guy supership. It has a bickering comedy robot couple, though they're literally a comedy couple in this case. They're in love. We have the rough and tumble rascal who gets the girl. We have space wizard powers. Not that this film will ever bother with even the fig leaf of the Force to justify those. We have hordes of identical bad guys. We even have Ursat's lightsabers. These look almost as good as the ones you'd buy from your local toy store. So, if what you're really jonesing for is a bland stew of rehashed Star Wars tropes swimming in a tepid lake of nonsensical plot, Star Odyssey may be for you. Though you should re examine your life choices if Star Odyssey is for you. Now, how nonsensical is the tepid lake of nonsensical plot? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, when I say that Earth's authorities turn to Professor Maury for aid, what I actually mean is they send someone to say to him, hey, save the world, would you? Just don't expect any help or resources from us. Because apparently the fate of the Earth is not something these people can be bothered assisting with. Now, I get the filmmakers want their protagonists to do the work. For instance, in Star Wars itself, Luke and Han do most of the heavy lifting. But like when the rebellion are looped into Star Wars, they do actually try to contribute. That is not the case here. In fact, the authorities are actively counterproductive to the point of forcing Professor Maury to break some of his team out of prison rather than simply releasing them to him. It's okay for the good guys to be outmatched and outgunned, but they shouldn't not care. And in this film, it seems like most of them don't care. Now, the movie's visual and audio elements also live up to the very low standards of the script. Not only does the film reuse many of the effects and costumes from Brescia's previous film, War of the Robots, but the lightsabers used by the cast are literally cardboard swords painted with fluorescent paint. Like I said, the toys you could buy in stores were probably better. And then there's the soundtrack. Uh, the theme appears to consist almost entirely of one single 10-second tune that is played over and over and over and over and over and over and oh god, please just make it stop. It is painful to listen to, painful to watch, painful to even dredge up in my memory banks, frankly. Uh, the film can also be found lurking under the titles Space Odyssey, Metallica, and yeah, Metallica, and Captive Planet, where it ambushes the unwary with various 90 to 100-minute cuts of utter awfulness. You should avoid it under any of these titles, as well as under the title of Star Odyssey. Next time, I gave Andy Sidaris' first two films a whole video each, but I see little point in giving his other movies the same sort of focus. So we'll be taking the next 5 Lethal Ladies films all in one video. Trust me, it's better for everyone this way. But that is next time. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've seen this film, well, number one, you have my condolences. But number two, let me know what you thought of it.